Thank you for calling the Afterlife Hotline, your one-stop shop for all things spooky, weird, and possibly cursed. Press 1 for ghost stories that will ruin your sleep schedule.
Press 2 for paranormal mysteries we definitely won't solve.
Press 3 to speak to a demon. Just kidding, unless...
If you're still here, congrats. You've officially ignored all the red flags.
And now you're stuck with us. Hope you like bad jokes and spooky stuff.
This is the Afterlife Hotline.
Boo!
Hi, hello.
Hello.
I'm Denisha.
I'm Ashley, and welcome back to the Afterlife Hotline, or welcome to the Afterlife Hotline. So, this is episode 12. I'm so excited.
Yes.
And today we are going to be talking about where the dead don't hang up, and the strange always answers.
If you guessed it, tonight's line is open for creatures of the night, vampires.
Yay! I'm so excited.
Yes, me too.
The bloodthirsty legends, the shadowy immortals, or the misunderstood beings cursed to wander forever.
So grab your garlic, dim those lights, and let's sink our teeth into the truth. Let's figure out where this whole vampire thing really started. The word vampire first crept into the English language in 1732. These blood-sucking nightcrawlers have been around haunting humanity's imagination since way before that, though. Sure, we know all about Count Dracula, Bram Stoker's fang-tastic creation from the 1897s, but vampire lore runs much, much deeper than that. So what is a vampire, really? That depends on which creepy campfire tale you're listening to, but the basics, they drink blood, hate sunlight, can't deal with mirrors, same, and are some of them are shape-shifting into bats or wolves.
Honestly, same. I don't like looking in mirrors.
They're strong, charming, and deadly. Basically, your toxic ex, but with fangs. Were you planning that?
Yeah. It just came to my brain just now.
I adore you.
We'll take charming out of the toxic ex, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but that's the thing is some.
Oh, they put on a facade.
Like think about narcissism and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, now the inspiration behind Dracula might have been a real guy, Vlad the Impaler. He was born in Transylvania. I so want to go to Transylvania so bad. You can stay in his castle, by the way.
Wait, isn't that the one where Sam and Colby went to?
I think they've gone.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah.
It's also in our thumbnail, by the way. It's the background of our thumbnail.
Ooh, you know the answers to my heart.
Yep.
He ruled Romania with a heavy hand and a sharp stake. Vlad earned his nickname by literally impaling his enemies, even allegedly dipped his bread in their blood. Bon appetit. Yummy. Although there's no hard proof that Bram Stoker based Dracula entirely directly on Vlad, the eerie similarities have enough to raise a few eyebrows and stakes. The vampire panic really hit its stride during the Middle Ages. As the plague tore through Europe, people started blaming vampires for the mysterious deaths and symptoms like bleeding from the mouth. Never mind the whole massive pandemic thing. We see how well humanity does with pandemics.
Oh, yeah, no.
Diseases like porphyria?
Porphyria. We'll put up the word. I don't know how to say it either.
Diseases like that are a rare blood disorder. Rabies and even goiter got blamed for making people a little too vampire adjacent.
Yeah.
But when someone was suspected of being a vampire, things got really intense.
Kind of like the witches' trials.
Yeah. We're talking grave digging, heart staking, decapitations, and good old-fashioned corpse bonfires all the way into the 1800s. Just imagine the stank. But they don't want the dead to raise again.
Yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
However, vampire legends go way back, even to the ancient mythology. Meet Lilith, the demoness from Mesopotamia, and Jewish lore who may have been the trend for seductive soul suckers. Then there's Empusa and Lamia, two Greek gals who like to snack on men and kids. Don't forget the Strigas, vampire owls moonlighted as women with their thirst for blood and drama. So whether it's myth, disease, or dark folklore, one thing is clear. Humanity is obsessed with vampires, and it has a serious bite.
Mm-hmm. That kind of reminds me of, is it Blade? Where he has the three women? Or
Van Helsing. It's Dracula. He's got his 3 brides.
yeah, that's what it reminds me of. The women who, the moonlighted as women, thirst for blood and drama.
Well-
also, but for the Greek gals who snack on men and kids, like that also reminds me of what you told me about how some of them would literally eat their children.
Yeah, I was going to say, Greek mythology is steeped in the gods and goddesses eating their own offspring.
Yeah, there's a lot to Greek mythology and the god and goddesses and stuff like that
Like,
a lot of people don't realize. It's kind of dark.
it's very dark.
Yeah.
When I took a mythology course in college, and I really liked this professor too, because the way he had us like do things, like we had papers, but we didn't have like a lot of homework. Most of our stuff was journaling.
Yeah.
And he didn't care, like, as long as you were like actually reading the material, he didn't care what you put in the journals. And there was one point where we were on Zeus, and I went back to Hercules, and I was like, this is not a Disney movie.
No.
They do not.
Most of Disney movies aren't.
And so I
Disney
was just in
movies.
my journal, like, I told him, I was like, you have just shit on my childhood. And he,
Because isn't Hercules one of your favorites?
yeah. And so I was like, you have just shit on my childhood. And he was like, yep, welcome to the real world. And I was like, yep.
It's very unfortunate how a lot of the fairy tale-esque and
Well, it's like
things we
the
watch
Grimm's
are not
fairy
actually-
tales are not.
Nope. Think vampires are just fiction? Turns out there's a whole community of people today who identify as real life vampires. And no, they're not sleeping in coffins or turning into bats. Probably.
I wish.
That would be pretty freaking
Could you
cool.
imagine?
That would be pretty freaking
I'm
cool.
tired of this, Grandma. Bat.
Flies out the window. I'm going on a flight. See you
I
later.
need to spread my wings.
Literally. So take Mavin Lore, for example. His vampire awakening began not with a bite, but while being fitted for custom fangs. That moment of clarity led him from New York to New Orleans, where he found a community and never looked back. This is also per like a CNN article. So they did do like an actual interview with this man. Today, Lore's not just a fang crafter. He's reluctantly crowned king of the New Orleans vampire court. That would be pretty freaking cool. Really freaking cool.
am so bitter.
Her husband is heading to New Orleans right
When
now.
this episode goes live, he will be on his last day in New Orleans.
I feel really bad because I feel like I'm part of the reason why you didn't go.
No, it's
Bullshit.
fine. We didn't have the money to go anywhere, or for me to go anyway.
We will just have to make a girls trip and go visit New Orleans.
He told me, he's like, yeah, I can't. They right across.
We can get some vampire fangs.
Listen, I want to.
Yeah.
But there's a store, there's a cafe right across from their hotel that sells beignets, and so he's like, I'm gonna go get a beignet and I'm gonna take a picture. And I was like, okay, if
Do
you're
they fill beignets?
they can, yeah.
What if they filled it with like cherry filling and you like bite into it? And it's
There's
like blood?
also a vampire cafe.
Isn't that the one where they serve you with? Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to go. I want to cosplay as a vampire. My last name is Cullen, so I feel like it'd be very.
As
fitting.
long as you don't sparkle.
no.
And I will get
No.
into that later, because
Yeah.
I am not Team Sparkle.
So modern vampires, or vampires as some spell it with a Y, are a diverse and often misunderstood bunch. Some identify as sanguinarians,
Yes.
who consume small amounts of blood from consenting donors, while others are psychic vampires who claim to draw energy through intimacy, touch, or emotion. I find that very interesting.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like there are those people that you deal with on sometimes a daily basis that you'll be like, oh, you must be an energy vampire.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I have heard a lot of people talk about energy vampires and stuff, so that does make sense. So they don't all dress like Dracula or hang upside down in basements. Many have day jobs. Lors is actually a DJ and a designer, and Murticus, founder of the Atlanta Vampire Alliance, is an antiques expert. That's
would be
very
cool.
much a vampire
Yeah.
job. So
Also, I will say that Lore being a DJ also gives me vampire, because the opening like main scene in Blade is a vampire rave. Have
I
you
get-
seen the Blade movies?
no, I will have to watch them. Add that to the long list of movies that I'm going to have to watch.
Those are like
Courtesy of suggestions from Denisha and our episodes. So, are they good? Very good. They're one of your favorites, though, right?
the whole series. Yes.
Okay, so I'm going
There's
to have
3.
to watch it. So now I know.
I have them on. Do you have a DVD player?
No.
Okay, never mind.
Are they on any streaming services?
I don't know. I will look.
Okay. I could probably find it on there. So, for most, it's less about the fangs and more about identity, community, and a shared sense of belonging. Scholar John Edgar Browning, who studied vampire communities in New Orleans and Buffalo, says that modern vampirism is about empowerment and rejecting social norms, not reenacting horror movies. I like that.
Yeah.
I really do like that. I
Well,
feel
if
like
you
a lot of things is just misunderstood with some
Yeah.
of this stuff. So that said, misconceptions abound. Vampires like lore and Murdicus, I think
it's
I'm saying
Murdicus,
that. I
yeah.
think it's Murdicus. Constantly clarify that they're not nocturnal predators or occult practitioners. They don't condone human sacrifice, and many don't even wear fangs. As Murdicus puts it, when strangers ask if I drink blood, I tell them, no, that's called murder. I love his sense of humor.
Yeah,
No,
that's murder.
That's called murder.
Like, why would I do that? Like, I feel like they get a bad rep, but they're just people who accept themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Leave them alone. So, instead, vampirism is seen by many in the community as a mix of physical, spiritual, and psychological attributes. Some enjoy the aesthetic. I enjoy the aesthetic.
Yes.
It's very beautiful. Others find deeper meaning, and most just want to live their lives quietly, respectfully, and with a sense of chosen family.
Which I get that.
Yeah, me too. Different vampire houses and courts across the U.S. have their own customs. New York's scene leans influential. Ohio favors psychic feeding, and Atlanta, mostly a tight-knit crew of aging vampires who now prefer wine bars to wild nights.
Maybe we
Aw.
need to go to Atlanta.
Yeah, I can see them all just like fine dining, just drinking their wine and talking. So both Lore and Murdicus stress that being a vampire doesn't define their whole identity. They're in relationships with non-vampires, live full lives, and want people to see beyond the stereotype. And while the popularity of vampire shows, Interview with a Vampire, The Hunger, Dark Shadows, fuels curiosity, it also fuels confusion. Still, they stick together, squabbles happen. It's like any family, but the goal is unity through diversity. And as Laura puts it, unity doesn't mean we're all the same. It means we're all in this together.
I love that.
Me too.
I absolutely love that.
So, kind of segueing on.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Sparkling.
So we're talking about pop culture. We've talked about some shows. It piques curiosity. Vampires have always held a very strange place in pop culture. They're equal parts seductive, terrifying, but yet somehow they're a bit relatable. Mm-hmm. They've evolved from monstrous creatures lurking in the shadows to tortured anti-heroes and even glittering heartthrobs.
I wouldn't say a heartthrob.
I wouldn't either.
Sorry to any Twilight lovers out there. I was more of a Jacob fan.
You're still wrong.
No.
Yes, ma'am.
I like Jacob more than I did Edward.
Fuck Jacob. Fuck Edward.
Who did you like then? Did you like any of them?
If I'm having to pick a vampire, gun to my head, it's going to be Carlisle
Yeah, I can see that.
or Jasper.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm
Jasper.
no Edward.
Little awkward,
No,
awkward boy.
I'm-
Awkward bean.
Where have you been, Loca? Yeah, I hate it.
He was better looking.
He was better looking. I will give you that. Their mythology has been reshaped over decades, and they reflect our fears, desires, and they shift cultural obsessions. Mm-hmm. We're going to kick it off with the OG, Dracula. Bram Stoker gives us this tall, pale dude in a cape who seduces women, sleeps in a coffin, and really hates garlic. Sounds like a guy you'd accidentally match with on Tinder and immediately regret it.
Accurate.
Over the years, Dracula has been reimagined so many times. Bela Lugosi gave us this classic black and white, really creepy vibe, whereas Gary Oldman, the vampire I know, gave us a very dramatic diva, almost, I would say. He's doing the absolute most in his costumes, his hair, and his drama. He was very dramatic.
Yeah. I kind of love that for him, though.
He didn't just bite necks, he served looks. And I mean served looks. Gary Oldman actually was a runway model. He's Sirius Black from Harry Potter.
But his name's Gary.
Gary Oldman.
In Dracula?
Well, that's just him now. Yeah, that was him when he was older. But that's...
Oh. He gives like Johnny Depp vibes.
Yeah.
I like the top hat, sir.
Very diva. I love it.
Love it.
The first picture was him when he's older, and I could just see her
judging in my head. I'm just like, okay, whatever floats your boat, bruh.
Then we have the Interview with a Vampire movie,
Okay.
which asks the bold question: what if vampires were incredibly sad, beautiful men who whispered all of their problems into your neck before they bite it?
Oh.
So I don't think you've ever seen. I do recommend. It is on Max.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is Lestat and Brad Pitt is Louis. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. They were very emo immortal.
Okay.
Like, that's the vibe they give.
Okay.
They were less monsters and more hot undead philosophy majors who would cry while they're drinking blood. Like, especially Louis, because he was going through the immortal, like, ethical battle. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do this, blah, 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 blah. Also, there's a TV show now. I have not yet dabbled into that because I've only just recently watched the movie. But beautiful.
What is it? Is it
Interview with a Vampire. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's a movie adaptation, and then now there's a TV show.
TV. Okay.
And from what I've seen on TikTok, the TV show looks really, really interesting. And I love the accents. The main girl, like the girl in the season 1, like Claudia is her name. Her accent is beautiful because it's like
watch it now.
old school French Quarter, because it takes place in New Orleans.
Okay. Ooh.
And then we get Buffy the Vampire Slayer, one of my favorites. It's a show where a high school girl is literally battling hell, vampires, and she's all doing this while she's going to school.
Yeah.
She has witty comebacks constantly, very 90s. Buffy's in a love triangle, but she's in a love triangle with vampires.
Oh, God.
There's the tortured vampire with a soul and the badass punk rock vampire who has no soul and has questionable morals, but he has really good cheekbones.
Interesting.
I am Team Spike. Angel sucks.
All right.
They want you to love Angel, and you love Angel at first. I am Team Spike. Spike truly loved Buffy, if I do say so myself.
Okay.
It shaped an entire generation and their taste in men. Spoiler alert, we have issues because of it. This is where I think the bad boy trope really comes from.
Okay.
Like the men in leather jackets, mysterious, slick back hair. Like, I
Yeah.
think this, at least for my generation or our generation and like people who enjoy like fantasy stuff, I think this is where it starts. But maybe you want something a little less broody. You want something a little less dramatic and more stabby. Enter Blade. Wesley Snipes shows up as the ultimate vampire slayer who's also kind of a vampire himself. He's not here to talk about his feelings, but he's here to punch, slice, and shoot every vampire in a 5-mile radius. My favorite one-liner from him, motherfucker's always trying to ice skate uphill.
Okay.
Or then there's the other one when a cop shoots at him. He says, motherfucker, are you out of your damn mind?
I can see you just saying that, though.
I love Blade. The second one has to be my favorite because my favorite character from Red Dwarf, Kat, happens to be in that Blade.
Oh.
And also, he is in Labyrinth. He is actually the only song in Labyrinth that David Bowie does not sing.
Okay.
So
That's interesting.
a little bit of backstory on Danny John Jules there. I love him. He's a professional dancer.
Okay.
He's such a badass. I love him. I am, if you couldn't tell, a little bit obsessed with Blade. Not happy they're remaking it. I digress. But if we're going to stay on the same lines of stabby, we can talk about Van Helsing, which came out in 2004. It's full-on monster mash, and it has Hugh Jackman. He's not in The Greatest Showman. He's in Van Helsing. He is a vampire hunting equivalent to Victorian Batman. I think that's pretty accurate.
Okay.
He's got a dramatic coat, weird gadgets, and the ability to crash through stained glass windows and ruin the beautifulness. He does that quite often. The Dracula in this movie, peak chaotic, evil theater kid. And he is a theater kid.
Yeah.
He has a flair for the dramatics. He's also kind of hot. I don't know if that's just a hear me out situation, but he's kind of hot.
Van Helsing?
Yeah. Dracula and Van Helsing. I could see why he got 3 brides, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's Hugh Jackman.
Oh, shit.
You're looking for the vampire.
Yeah. He is kind of whiny, though. He seems very whiny. Or that may just be the dramatics.
He just wants to make sure his children have life.
Him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good looking. I did see that movie.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah. I don't know who I watched it with. I think I watched it with you.
That would make sense.
Yeah. But I had watched it previous to that because I think Mom probably watched it or something like that. Or I watched it with you a time before that. I don't really remember.
I'm really excited because Universal Epic Universe is going to have Dracula's Castle.
Oh. Yeah.
Where was I at?
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I got distracted by hotness. See, I'm part of the problem. He yells, flips upside down, summons his vampire brides, and is just chewing scenery like it's a buffet. He's over the top, he's campy, and it's a totally unhinged movie in the best way possible.
I will agree with that. There's a lot that happens in that movie.
And then in 2008, Twilight hit us
dreaded.
like a sparkly freight train to hell. I'm
sorry for any Twilight lovers out there.
And I'm sure I would feel differently if I read the books. I just wasn't a fan of the movies.
Yeah.
I think if I read the books, I would have a different heart. I will say, I do like Hollywood shows parodies of the Twilight movies. I'll watch them before I watch the Twilight movies. Suddenly, vampires are in high school. They're very into abstinence somehow. Edward Cullen looked like he was constantly smelling something weird and
or
somehow
constipated.
Yeah, yes, or constipated. And somehow millions of people fell in love with this look. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Twilight brought us sparkly skin, dramatic stares, and eternal love triangles. Was it good? Debatable. Was it iconic? Absolutely. Were you Team Edward or Team Jacob? Trick question. It was Team You Need Therapy.
Yeah, that's also very, very true.
However,
very, very true. Also, Bella. No, she had to be my least favorite. She was just always just with the face.
She looked constipated.
Yeah.
I feel for her dad too. If you think about it, if you take the Twilight saga and you put it from her dad's perspective, it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's not a romance. It's a horror movie. Mm-hmm. Your daughter comes to live with you and all of a sudden she's running off with these two mysterious men and then she becomes a vampire.
Yeah.
And
dies.
the only
one that dad even knows is Jacob because he's friends with his dad.
Mm-hmm. But if you want something raunchier, bloodier, and with southern accents, True Blood has you covered. Vampires in the show don't hide. They were out, proud, and had their own synthetic blood beverage. It was messy, sexy, and full of supernatural drama. Honestly, no one in that show had chill.
I don't think I ever watched True Blood. Did you?
I watched bits and pieces, and it goes viral on TikTok every so often.
I've never seen this show. Ever.
I've seen bits and pieces.
I think I was thinking of...
there was also one with...
It has the brunette girl.
Vampire Diaries.
That's the one I was thinking about, not True Blood.
Also hadn't seen that.
I haven't seen it either.
Yeah, there was zero chill in True Blood. It was very dramatic. On the complete other end of the vampire spectrum, though, and this one, I've done a TikTok sound over this one. I love this one. What We Do in the Shadows. It's the best vampire content that comes out of Staten Island in a duplex. So think The Office, but everyone is undead.
You said Staten Island, so I was thinking more of like Jersey Shore.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Watching them try to navigate roommate drama, modern society, and energy vampires is just comedy gold. It's proof that vampires can be scary and stupid like the rest of us. And I will say, my favorite, I did a TikTok sound over this. I'm here to suck blood and fuck forever.
Oh.
Don't sleep on Castlevania either if you like anime.
Okay.
You might actually like Castlevania.
Probably.
It's based off of the video games. It's gory and it's deeply dramatic. Dracula, actually, you kind of feel bad for him. He is murdering all of humanity, but he's doing it because they burned his wife at the stake.
Oh.
They killed his wife.
Yeah, I mean, I would do the same thing.
And it was the church that killed his wife because they said that she was a witch because she was cohorting with vampires.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
And so
we like burn everybody down.
Gets his revenge, and it has the most incredible fight scenes. And Theo James from Divergent, he is also one of the voice actors in it.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to watch that now.
Since you mentioned
Do you think that would be on Crunchyroll?
It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original.
Okay. I'm gonna have to watch that now because I feel like I would like that. I wonder if Steven's watched that. I don't know if he has or not.
And since you brought it up yesterday, I had to make sure to include this because if there's one thing that anyone who knows me knows is I have an obsession with David Bowie. So I had to include The Hunger, even though I personally cannot stand this movie. But it's super stylish, and it came out in the 1983. It's a vampire movie where David Bowie and his co-star Catherine play chic immortal lovers. It's sexy, it's weird, and it makes you wonder if becoming a vampire is going to automatically have you have model cheekbones and a killer wardrobe.
I could not be one. I do not have killer cheekbones.
But the whole movie is giving, I'll haunt you, but make it high fashion. And I think that's probably why I didn't like it, is it's more like the fashionista style. And I love me some Bowie, but that movie was not for me.
It's a flop for you.
Yeah. But the wild thing is, in all of these things, vampires are kind of mirrors.
Okay.
Not really, but they reflect metaphorically whether we are cautionary about diseases, whether we think they're sexy, whether it's about forbidden sex, whatever era we're kind of in as a society is where our vampire stuff comes from.
Yeah.
In some stuff, they're misunderstood hotties with tragic backstories and great hair.
Yeah.
But in some stuff, they are dangerous killers. No matter how many times we try to stake their hearts, they keep coming back. Eternal drama, and we're always obsessed with it.
Segueing from the pop culture and a little bit of history and all the fun stuff about vampires, I do have a few Reddit stories on vampires. These ones were said to be true stories. Take it with a grain of salt. I would like to believe they're true, but I don't know. So the first one is titled, "Was he a vampire or something else?" No idea. Then the user was Trick-Tax. Okay, so it says, "Okay, so in this first time I've told anyone outside an extremely small group of mostly family. To this day, I have no idea how to really explain what happened. This was back in the mid-90s. I'm 42 and was, I believe, 17 at the time. I was living in my truck, so there was no parental adult supervision of any kind. Anyway, my friend had met a couple of guys and liked one of them. She wanted me to go with her on a double date with them, and I agreed as long as she drove my truck. I was sick of driving, and she loved driving." Sounds very familiar. Yeah. Anyway, we drove to the house of one of the guys to pick them up. It was a rough neighborhood, but I was a street kid and felt more in my element than if he had lived in a nicer area. So we honk, and these two guys walk out. This is midday, and they look like your average teenage boys. One's average with severe acne, but a sweet smile. My date. And we all clicked really well. I sat on this guy's lap, no back seat, while my friend drove, and her guy sat in the middle. We went to the mall and had lunch at an Italian place in the food court. Then we went to the mall theater and watched a movie. The guy I was with was shy and insecure, but really sweet. My friend's guy was more gregarious, but also really nice. After that, we drove them home, same seating arrangement, and yes, being a teenager and wanting the sweet, shy guy to have a particular good experience, I immediately made out with him on the drive home. Ew. When we pulled up to the curb, the guy started kissing and biting my neck. Not so odd, but then I felt a bite go from normal to too sharp, pleasurably painful points on pressure of my neck, and this guy's head flew back so fast. I was worried about his neck. His hand flew over his mouth so fast that I couldn't see anything, and he looked like he was on the verge of tears. He was clearly panicked and kept apologizing, and I tried to reassure him that I was fine and everything was okay, but he opened the door, scooted me quickly, gently off his lap, and ran to the house. His friend followed without a word. I looked in the mirror and saw two reddening depressions, small and circular, no broken skin, on my neck that quickly turned into welts. We never saw or heard from either of them again. I still can't quite explain it. He was just a normal kid. We ate Italian at the food court with plenty of garlic. The dude had a reflection. Side mirror made that obvious as I was facing it the whole time as we drove in the truck. It was a late afternoon, but still bright since it was summer. And no, the guy did not sparkle. LOL. Nothing made this kid stand out. Nothing was in any way unusual until a seemingly normal bite during a teenage makeout session suddenly became the most uncanny experience of my life. I'm not really suggesting he was a vampire like those in the legends, but I felt his teeth push out. He bit with what felt like normal teeth at first, and then I felt them quickly grow to fangs. Or descend, and I have no explanation that makes rational sense. I wanted to post this in case anyone else had a similar experience. I can't believe that I am the only person to have had such an experience, and think those who have ought to compare notes. I also wonder if someone out there has a rational explanation for this, and if you do, please tell me. My friend saw what happened too. She saw the marks on my neck. If you think this was delusion, fine. There's nothing I can say to change your mind, so I really couldn't care less. I know what happened that day, and so does she. I also know the possibility that I am the only person to have experienced something like this is absurd. There have to be other people who have had similar or something like this happen. I hope a few stumble upon this. It has been a nagging memory that sometimes keeps me up at night wondering. Thanks for reading this slice of my weird little life. How do you feel about that? I think it was just a normal bite, and I think she was like overanalyzing it personally.
It could be that, but it also could be because some people have sharper like canines than other people, and so it could be that
they moved in a certain way.
Yeah, they could have moved in a certain way. He could have like moved more of his teeth onto her.
I'm curious if her already being a little uncomfortable in this situation kind of played into the whole
that, or maybe they hit a pothole
Yeah. Who
And
knows?
it caused a stronger bite.
Yeah. I don't know. Because the only thing I can think of... The only thing I can think of is if the guy does have, like, more prominent and more sharper canines, because if there's only 2 marks that are left versus like a whole bite.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would assume if it's like a whole, if someone's biting your neck, it's going to leave
multiple teeth,
where this one was only 2. So I think the guy probably just had like longer canines and more pointier canines, and she just didn't realize it until he bit on her neck, and then he realized like, oh shit, like I actually bit her a little bit too hard.
Yeah.
Plus he was kind of a nervous, like,
he was already shy anyway.
Shy individual. So this next one's a little longer. Grab a beverage or a snack or something.
Take a pee break if you need one.
See if I can get through this effectively. So this is called Smile. User is Cold Spiritual 694. Says, it's been a while since I last wrote about my spiritual experiences, so to speak. I only plan on writing about true events, so please bear with me. It takes a lot out of me to have to relive these nightmares and account for so many details that I've worked so hard to forget. I have loved horror movies since I was a small child. Scary ghosts, haunted houses, transforming werewolves, blood-sucking vampires. I love it all. My mother explained to me a very long time ago how scary movies were made to look so realistic, and I was instantly obsessed. Sounds like a little Denisha. These creatively disturbed people brought to life a whole new reality, a reality made up of their own beautiful dreams and wicked nightmares. After all these years, I'll admit, I used to think that something was just off. Why would I, as a young child, adore such gruesome scenes? It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Dead bodies, blood everywhere.
It's beautiful. It was beautiful. And lots of people agreed with me. Thank you very much.
No, everybody agreed with you. Everybody agreed with you. Okay. I think now, as selfish as it is to admit, I find comfort in knowing I'm not the only one that has seen these monsters. After all, the thing we conjure into our minds have to come from something, don't they? Could the multiple decades of slasher movies and biting your nails horror shows influence these nightmares of mine? Sure. Only problem is I've yet to find a direct correlation. When I watch these movies, I don't have nightmares. I only have nightmares when I don't watch werewolves morphing and vampires stalking innocent prey. And I never dream of the monsters I see on scene. No, my mind prefers to get creative and terrify me with its own brand of horror. So here we go. Again. It's summer of 2024, just a couple weeks ago, actually. A beautiful, boring day per usual. The trees are beautiful budded, the flowers sway in the light breeze, while frogs and crickets chirp a symphony. The hot, blazing sun is finally starting to rest on these blue Kentucky hills. Only a moment of solitude passes before the immediate punch of boredom quickly changes and dominates my easily swayable mind. May as well go back inside and go to bed, I thought, as my feet slowly move, my restless body towards the house. I open our front door, the door that used to glow white that is now covered in dark muck and thick dirt. Just like my life, something that was once so light and free that's now masked in grit and shit. Just anything I've yet to muster the energy to clean. I'll get to it eventually, I lie to myself, even knowing then it was nothing more than just a pretty white lie wrapped in the most ridiculous bow. Normally changed into pajamas, but that's all I wear anymore anyway, so I'm already dressed for bed. I swiftly ramble through our nightly routine, get the kids ready for bed, pick up the house, and let the dogs outside. I could finally lay down and rest. Finally. Psh, as if I hadn't laid in the house all day, doing nothing more than resting. Yet that's exactly how my mind thinks every time I fall onto this daunting mattress.
Felt that.
Accurate. Normally I could feel peaceful, soft clouds encasing me as the Sandman would sprinkle the sweetest, finest sand in my weary eyes, but so easy while he would transition my mind to the dream world. More recently, it was a bit of a different story. Staring at the ceiling has turned into a nightly Olympic sport for me. See how long I can stare into the abyss, into nothing, before my mind finally shuts up and allows me to rest. Crowded thoughts and tantalizing words clutter every crevice of my brain, rendering my conscience vague and foggy. Eventually, the overcrowding becomes too much, and I can start to distance myself, just enough to escape into the solitude of sleep. As soon as my eyelids start to droop, I don't waste any time. I abruptly close them and start to drift off. I'm in a house. It's so unfamiliar, yet familiar at the same time. I know I haven't been here before, but why do I feel so comfortable? The peeling blue paint on the uneven walls, white, trim stained with dirt and filth, matched with cheap, thin carpet that felt more like concrete than anything else. This melting room is such a mess, too. There's so much on the floor. Toys, books, furniture, all covered in dull white cobwebs. I'm standing in the middle of it all, completely content. I don't know where I am, nor do I seem to care. This feels like home. I know it isn't, but this overwhelming, welcoming feeling is too hard to fight, and before I'm even aware, I've already given in. Still unstable to question my complacency, I find myself hypnotized walking towards the light switch, turning it off to go to bed. I somehow already knew that I went through the rest of the house and turned the lights off. That's why every room was dark in the blue room I was standing in. But how did I know that? It was like I woke up in the middle of a movie I've seen 100 times. I knew what I had already done, and I knew what to do next. I walked carefully through the maze of old dusty treasures strategically placed on the floor and turned off the light, completely ignoring the blue paint chips that scattered to the floor as I placed my hand easily on the wall. Beside the light switch was a white door, just like the one to the front of the house, caked in filth. However, I knew this door wasn't to the outside driveway like it was at home. It was to another room. Another room with deep blood red walls, one oddly shaped square window with cheap white blinds, and nothing else. No furniture, no toys, no books, no mess, no treasure, no anything. Just a hard, light-colored wooden floor that looked as if it hadn't cradled one loving item. I opened the grungy white door, stick my hand inside to turn the light off. As soon as the light went dark, the room went black, all except for the shadow in front of the window. Only, it was like an inverted shadow. Everything in the room was dark, except what would normally have been a shadow cast from the sun shining through this weird window. The part was almost luminous, just one little patch of light with all four corners of the room draped in darkness. Darkness that would not allow this light to grow any further. You knew better. Turn the light back on now. Who was that? Who said that? No sooner than those words fly across my mind, I'm met with the heart-pounding realization that I'm not alone. A heart-pounding realization that I'm alone. That warning sunk into my very soul, violently grabbing every atom of happiness and drowning it, as if it descended further and further. I was completely frozen and unable to move, unable to speak, unable to blink. I can't even get my chest to expand and contract. How am I breathing? My heart, I can feel my heart. Wait, this shouldn't be painful. Every beat in my heart pounded so hard it felt as if it was hitting my chest bone, slowly but viciously trying to break through. The slow, rough paces quickly turned to panic, murderous thumps that cracked through my spine. Breathe. You need to breathe. Before I could spend another second focusing on my dying body, out of the corner of my eye, I see a large black figure start to very gently slither my way. Ugh.
I'm thinking like Nagini in the Harry Potter movie.
Yeah. As I stood there in the doorway between the blue and the red rooms, fear overcame every cell of my body, and my body refused to retreat. I always been a fighter, even in my dreams. Worst case, I'll run away. I'm fully understand the fight or flight scenario, and I've employed both without any shame. This, however, was something I've never experienced before. I'm not just stuck in this old Victorian house, I'm stuck in this exact spot between what seems to be two different worlds. The world that comforted me so passionately just minutes ago, and the world that stood in front of me, a world made of nothing more than some starving stomach.
It crept over so slowly, like it was taking its time, building up the suspense before the big reveal. I just stood there, unable to heed the loud warning, unable to defend my very life. All that I could do was wait and watch. No more than 3 steps were taken before the lights flipped back on. Although I am still glued in place, I can finally see the dark shadow that was inching towards me, only it was no longer a black figure. It's my oldest daughter. Mm-hmm. It has her beautiful dark blonde hair, her searing blue-green eyes, and her cute pouty lips. Those lips were wrapped around a set of sharp, jagged teeth. And her smile, oh, that smile. It was a smile that set so high on her perfect little cheekbones that you could see every serrated tooth that thing had. It moved so differently, as if it was trying its best to mock her natural movements, but could only do it in small bursts, and then it would get stuck and have to reorientate. Despite its best efforts, I knew that this could not be my child. The energy was wrong. It was chillingly cold, an unnatural cold. "Mommy, what's wrong? It's me. It's your baby. Mommy?" It kept screaming, repeating the same few words in my daughter's sweet voice.
My worst nightmare.
Yeah, but that smile did not move. The gaping smile, those unsettling teeth that did not muster a word. It was biting down so hard. I could hear its teeth grind as it shifted its sharp jaw so slightly. Saliva run down those teeth onto my daughter's chin, dripping in that perfect teardrop shape. "Mommy, are you okay? What's wrong? It's me. It's Harper." It's Harper?
Who's Harper?
We know a Harper.
Chris's.
We see her every Monday.
Oh, no! Maybe that's why she looks at us the way she does. She's judging us. She's a little vampire. Oh my God.
Because she
We're never going to look at her. We're never going to look at her the same.
Oh my God. It kept insisting that I fall for this facade. But I refused. I know my daughter, and this thing was not her. I'm still frozen in the coldest, most unwelcoming fear I have felt. My body is still refusing to let any of my muscles move, and this thing is coming toward me. Please, God, please let me out of here. Take me out. Take me out. Take me out. I pleaded over and over. I pleaded so loud that I could no longer hear the false promises that this thing was spouting. Closer and closer and closer. It wasn't going to stop, and I was helpless. Oddly glitching across that cold hardwood floor, the footsteps just kept coming until it suddenly stopped. Oh, no. Now face to face with me, searing that bear-clenched smile like it was a badge of honor, eating my torment, making it obvious that it had never tasted something so scrumptious, engorged in the very essence of my enchanted state. It just stares at me, inches from my face, just staring with those fiery eyes and smiling.
No.
Please, God, please, I thought one last time as it slowly started to move up again, frantically reaching its hand out to me, reaching for my porcelain face. Those couple of traumatizing seconds felt like an hour. I was patiently waiting for it to take me, knowing that there was nothing I could do to stop it. I just had to accept it. This was it. I can't get out of this one. It's one. Just then, just millimeters from touching my face, I was jolted awake like a shotgun had been aimed right at my chest and released. Waking up in a full panic, sweat running down my face, as well as tears. What had just happened? Am I okay? Where did it go? I look straight at the clock and it reads 3 a.m. Of course. Of fucking course.
I love how I said of course, and then that's literally the next line.
I do what I can to calm down. I take deep breaths and I try to relax. It's not working. I turn my phone on and start skimming through meaningless TikTok videos, hoping to at least distract myself. Yeah, sames. It worked, at least for the first few seconds of interesting videos I came across. But no later than that, I found myself staring off, stuck on the image of that smile. That feeling stayed even after I woke up. Although everyone in the house was asleep, I felt like I wasn't alone. The eerie presence of that thing, it was still very present and very apparent. And what was the point of that dream? What was it trying to tell me? Or was it trying to tell me anything at all? Was it really just feeding on my fear? Too many thoughts clouded my mind, so needless to say, any more sleep was out of the question. I just waited until 7 a.m. rolls around, eat something, an old superstition, and tell my mother about it after she's had some time to wake up. Maybe she has a different perspective that I'm not seeing. Hours passed by like minutes. Had I really just sat here for 4 hours, literally not moving an inch? It was like I was frozen all over again, just completely unaware of time. I brush it off. This wasn't the first time I've lost time like this, and I'm not in the right mindset to care as I should. I grab a small bite to eat, get my phone out, and go tell my mom everything I dreamt of.
Was the only response I got attached with a photo of this dark, empty, smiling thing with black eyes and long pointed ears. Although I didn't recognize the face, the smile I most definitely recognized. That was the same exact smile that had just overtook the image of my daughter hours ago. Where did you get that? I demanded to know. Sorry, your sister drew that last night and thought to herself, well, I'll dream about that, but she didn't. You did. She then told me I need to be more receptive to the good things that God shows me. But the God that I have gotten to know over the years wouldn't scare me like that, nor would he use my beautiful, innocent daughter to do so. There's only ever been one other time that my dream has scared me this bad, when I dreamed of driving through hellfire. At least in that dream, I was stuck in the truck, but I could move and react. In this dream, the fear was so immense, my body and mind lost all cognitive functions the very millisecond the lights went out in that red room. Fear that is so intense, it will always stay with me. I'll be sure to attach the screenshots of the text between my mother and I, including the photo that my sister drew. Do not have those because this has actually been archived, deleted, on Reddit technically, so there's no attachments on it, unfortunately. I wish there was, because that'd be pretty interesting to see. Just to add insult to injury, my youngest daughter, who is 3 years old, likes to go through my phone and look at all the photos I take of her, her sister, and the nature scenes around us. For some reason, she found the photo my sister had drawn of this thing, enlarged it, stuck the phone in my face, then just laughed. And it wasn't a genuine laugh. It was a fake, forced laugh. The kind of laugh you hear evil villains muster after their secret plans are employed. That is how she laughed. No, I haven't spoken to anyone about this dream except my mother and sister. I would never let my 10 and 3-year-old know about something so gruesome. So how did she know? How did my 3-year-old know how to stop on that particular photo, and why did she laugh like that? I have never heard that laugh come from my child before, and she smiled so big as she laughed. That smile that set so high on her perfect little cheeks. That's creepy.
Yeah, absolutely no.
Creepy.
Immediately.
I don't like it. After that, I would not be able to look at my daughter the same for my dream.
No. That has to be gut-wrenching.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, knowing that had happened in your dream is one thing, but then also having your youngest child react to that photo in real life.
Yeah.
And react that way, it's like your two are starting to merge.
Mm-hmm.
That would freak me the fuck out.
Like the dream is coming to reality kind of thing. Especially since her sister had drew it.
Yeah. Her sister's psychic, first of all.
Honestly.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
The one in the dream seems more of like the energy type of vampire.
Yeah.
Because it's feeding off of her fear. But then, I don't know. I would lose my shit if my child started acting like that in real life and knew nothing of the scenario.
It popped the memory of Pennywise. I'll feast on your fear. What is it? I'll feast on your fear while I feed on your flesh.
Oh, damn. Yeah, that's very, that'd be very relevant to that story.
Especially with the jagged teeth.
Oh. Yeah, I could just imagine that in my mind. I really wish there was still like photos of that, because I really want to know like what she
drew.
saw.
Yeah.
Anyway,
wow.
I know that was a long one, but I thought it was very interesting.
I thought that was interesting, yeah.
Because it gives you more of like the emotional type-esque of vampire versus like
rather
the
than just the dangerous the dangerous side or the aggressive side. You get to see kind of the more paranormal, I'd say, aspects of it.
Well, so that was all of that about all the vampire stuff. But we do have 2 book recommendations that follow along this topic. Very interesting. I'm going to let Denisha talk about this one real quick.
I figured you would want to talk about Southerners since that one's your favorite. So the first one...
You can say whatever you need to say, but I haven't finished it, so I figured
she's doing a not so good. She needs to finish it.
I'm halfway through. You can see where I'm at.
Yeah. So My Roommate is a Vampire. This is by Jenna Levine, I think is her last name. It stars Cassie Greenberg, and she loves to be an artist. It's tough. It's a tough way to make a living. She's on the brink of eviction, and she's desperate when she needs to find an apartment. She finds one that is way too good to be true in a beautiful Chicago neighborhood. Mm-hmm. She knows there has to be some kind of catch. Only someone with a secret to hide would rent this room for that price.
Shit, I wish we could find
honestly
places to rent for that price.
Of course, her new roommate, Frederick J. Fitzwilliam, is
such a vampire name.
Far from normal. He sleeps all day, he's out on business at night, and he talks like he walked into a Regency romance novel. Mm-hmm. He also leaves Cassie heart-melting notes around the apartment, cares about her art, and asks about her day. And he doesn't look half bad shirtless on the rare occasions that they're both home and awake. But when Cassie finds bags of blood in the fridge that definitely weren't there earlier, Frederick has to come clean. Cassie's sexy new roommate is a vampire, and he has a proposition for her.
Ooh.
And it is equal parts humor, spicy, but not like smut. It's just a romance. You know what I mean? It's a little fantasy romance. It's, I'd say, young adult.
Yeah,
I would say it's young adult.
It's a very good read. And I feel like it'd be a very easy read, too.
So if you like romance, and comedy.
Mm-hmm.
My Roommate is a Vampire.
Yes.
I do recommend it. I've read it twice now.
Yep. I'm in the process of reading it. I would definitely recommend it. So
that is your first one.
heck yeah. This next one was so good that I read it on Libby. Yep. Read it on Libby, and I loved it so much. It was actually one of the books that got me back into reading.
You're welcome.
And it's thank you. She's the one who suggested it to me. As you know, she suggests everything to me.
When are you going to learn that you just need to listen to me?
I know. The Southerners Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. Such a good movie. And I will say...
Movie?
Such a good book. Such a good book.
It is.
It should be a movie.
It should be. They do have... So, Grady Hendrix is a phenomenal author. I'll let her get into her spiel in a minute. They do have My Best Friend's Exorcism. Mm-hmm. That's by him. There's a movie of it. I have not watched it, but I know it's there.
They need to make this into a movie, though.
I agree.
I love this book. So I will say, as somebody who wasn't really into reading as much, I was able, once I actually finally got like hooked and sat down and actually read it, I was able to read this book in probably about a day or two.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty hefty boy, in my opinion. It is 404 pages. So I'd say a pretty hefty book.
Especially when you're not into reading.
Yeah. And it was so good that I had to go and actually buy a physical copy because I just loved it so much. So a little bit about it is it's fried green tomatoes and steel magnolias meets Dracula in this Southern flavored supernatural thriller set in the 90s. And it's about a woman's book club that must protect its suburban community from a mysterious and handsome stranger who turns out to be a blood-sucking fiend. Patricia Campbell had always planned for a big life, but after giving up her career as a nurse to marry an ambitious doctor and becoming a mother, Patricia's life has never felt smaller. The days are long, and her kids are ungrateful. Her husband is distant.
Her husband sucks.
I cannot stand
all of the men
suck,
actually,
in this book. And her to-do list is never really done. The one thing she has to look forward to is her book club, a group of Charleston mothers united only by their love for true crime and suspenseful fiction. In these meetings, they're more likely to discuss the FBI's recent siege of Waco as much as the ups and downs of marriage and motherhood. But when an artistic and sensitive stranger moves into the neighborhood, the book club's meeting turn into speculation about the newcomer. Patricia is initially attracted to him, but when some local children go missing, she starts to suspect the newcomer is involved. She begins her own investigation, assuming that he's a Jeffrey Dahmer or Ted Bundy. What she uncovers is far more terrifying, and soon she and her book club are the only people standing between the monster they've invited into their homes and their unsuspecting community. So freaking good.
It is a fantastic read.
Fantastic book. I would say, other than just the first maybe few chapters, as soon as you're hooked, you are hooked. And it's constant throughout the whole entire book.
There's not a moment to breathe.
No. I literally was just sitting there, and as soon as I was like, okay, just one more chapter. But then at the end of that chapter, it would hook me again. And I was just like, okay, one more chapter. And the next thing I knew, I finished the freaking book. And it was so good. I'm going to be rereading this book whenever I get through the other ones that I'm currently reading.
It was, because I had mentioned it whenever I was watching Allie was doing a reading stream, and I was mentioning that I was reading it, and she had read it before, and this is Allie. I don't think she's hardback quarter anymore on YouTube. I think it's just with Allie.
Or with is it not with Malice?
With Malice is her Twitch.
Oh.
I think her YouTube is with Allie.
With Allie. Okay.
We can link her
with an IE. Yeah, we'll put her.
Oh no, Allie is in L-A-L-I.
Oh, either way, we'll put her stuff at the bottom because she is definitely one where I think she gets most of her book recommendations from. So because she's very much into these style of books. She's where I get a lot of. If I'm in a reading slump, I go to her and I go to her Goodreads and I see what she's been reading. She's got really good picks.
But she had highly recommended that, and there was a specific scene that she was like, "Ooh, have you gotten there yet?" And I was like, "No." And so when she told me, let me know when you get there, I was like, "Oh," That's what you mean.
So good.
Um,
I literally recommend this book to everybody. I even recommended it to our barista over at Think Coffee across the street.
yes.
I don't know if she's read it yet, but
We haven't been over there in a while.
No.
One,
I love it.
1 to 5, 5 being high. What do you rate it?
5.
With what you've read, 1 to 5, what do you rate it?
4.
I agree with that. I agree with that rating system. That's a 5 for me.
Yeah.
This is, yeah.
They're two separate styles of books. This one, I don't know. This has to be my favorite book so far. That one is very good. I guess I'm just not, or I could just be in a reading slump. I'm just not as hooked as this.
I think that's fair though, because like it's a good read. Don't get me wrong. I love it.
Yeah.
I read it on Libby and I bought a physical copy.
Yeah.
I will be getting a physical copy of that eventually.
Yeah.
But I feel like there are better romantasy books. Like this is a cute, humorous read.
Yeah.
But it's not a 5-star for me.
Yeah.
That is definitely a 5-star. I have loved everything
This
from Grady
definitely
Hendrix.
seems like
though.
it'd be more of like a Hallmarky type.
Yeah.
Vampire love.
Yeah, I still
type.
can't wait for you to figure out what's in the closet.
I'm excited to figure out what's in the closet.
But I completely understand where you're coming from for that one too, because I feel like for me personally, the book that gets you back into reading is always going to be up there.
Yeah.
Because like there was a book for me, it's Of Beast and Burden, and I wasn't reading for years. Read that book on a whim.
Yeah.
And now look at me.
The plethora. If y'all could only see, this is just a small section. I mean, she has
5
bookshelves.
And I want more.
Yeah.
So Of Beast and Burden was my Southerners for you because it got me into reading.
Yeah. So good.
I love books that can get you back into reading because reading is a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. You just have to find what's going to hook you.
Yep. But yeah, with those book recommendations, let's see.
What I'm interested in, and I would love for people to comment.
Oh, yes.
What is your favorite vampire storyline? Do you like Blade? Are you like Ultraviolet? That's one I didn't mention because it was definitely a flop.
Oh no.
But it's like a futuristic sci-fi vibe.
Oh, okay.
I happen to really enjoy it, but it's not a box office positive
Yeah,
movie.
that's fair.
Or are you Team Twilight?
Yeah.
Are you True Blood, Vampire Diaries? Like, what's your vampire genre that you like?
Mm-hmm. Give us recommendations down below of any movies, shows, books, vampire-esque, anything like that you think we would be interested in. I would love to hear what you guys are interested in. If you guys want to email us, comment down below any of your paranormal
any recommendations.
Recommendations, any experiences that you guys might have had. Yeah.
Until next time, keep your mirrors clean and your windows closed.
The Afterlife Hotline is always open.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for calling the Afterlife Hotline, where the ghosts are chatty and the hosts are, well, questionable at best.
Press 1 to replay this episode and question your life choices.
Press 2 to summon us back next week. No Ouija board required.
Press 3 to hang up. But let's be real, something's probably still listening.
That's it for this call, but don't worry.
We're like ghosts. We always come back.
Until next time.
Stay spooky, stay weird, and maybe don't answer that strange knock at your door. Goodbye!